how worthy is it? Over the time we saw that the number of questions on geometry has slightly dipped. It starts at somewhere around 4 questions and then gradually went towards 2 to 3 questions every paper. Hands down 8 to 9 questions in the paper, and that's your best route to go to the 99th percentile, undoubtedly. Geometry, modern math and number theory more or less take 5 to 6 questions, and it didn't change in 2022. I'm going to give you my 2 cents on number theory. Despite the fact that topic doesn't have a huge weightage in the paper, I still will go and recommend to you to do this topic here. Hey folks, we understand that quant preparation can be a bit overwhelming at times. Sometimes when you start your preparation for quant, we feel a little exhausted. We don't know where to start, how to do it. And sometimes we don't know, should we cover this entire syllabus, which part to cover extensively, which one to drop away. It would be a nice idea to have a look at the previous year's papers, see if there is any pattern that's changing, see where the focus extensively falls on, and maybe that is our cue to do our preparation. And this video, we're going to have a look at the last 5 years paper, and we are going to crack and see if we can get a blueprint out of it and plan our preparation around it. So this class is all about a blueprint part. And to begin with, we'll look for 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And then probably we'll have our analysis, and then we'll look at our key takeaway points. And then there are a few disclaimers here and there. We'll also have a look at it. So we'll have a look at first CAT 2021. When you look at it, we understand that we extensively have 5 modules: arithmetic, algebra, number theory, modern math and geometry. Right. So you look at 2021, you have on an average across the slots, you had 10 arithmetic questions, 7 questions on algebra, 3 on geometry, 1 on number system and 1 in modern math. So if you look at the question split up of all these modules, you got a question on time, speed, distance, time and work, profit and loss, ratio, SI, average, mixtures. And then you had questions on functions, inequalities, quadratic equations, logarithms. I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to let you have one glance at it. So these were the questions split up for 2021. Now, if you suddenly shift gears and have a look at 2022, you will notice that arithmetic had 9, algebra 7, 3, 2, 1. Now, in 21, we had somewhere around 17 questions from arithmetic and algebra. Here it is 16. So geometry, modern math and number theory more or less take 5 to 6 questions, and it didn't change in 2022. And then you look at the question pattern. You have time, speed, distance, time and work, profit and loss, ratio, proportion, sequence series, functions, graphs, logarithms. So pretty much there is some connection, correlation over time, and that will help us pick up something, right? And then you look at 2023, you had arithmetic 8 questions and algebra 8 questions. Again, put together, more or less you are getting 16 questions here. So the topic split up once again. I'm going to let you have one glance at it. And then you look at 2024, again 9 questions in arithmetic, 7 in algebra, 3, 1, 2 in geometry, number system and modern math. The pattern stays the same, consistently goes more or less in the same pattern. And you look at the number of questions, you notice time and work, time, speed, distance, ratio, SI, average. You have surds, indices, functions, graphs, quadratic equations, logarithms, reminders, and you have the same flow. And then you look at 2025, again, same. There really isn't a huge shift in the pattern that we have seen over time. But maybe if you have a look at all these topics across previous year, 25, 24, 23, 22, if you have a look at all these topics, maybe we can carve out some topics that you have to extensively focus on, some topics that have been repetitive, some topics that have been consistently being appearing. And from there, maybe you can decide on what to prepare, what to leave out, what to partially focus on. That's going to be an idea. So over these 5 years, the one idea that I inferred, the one analysis that I had, let me share it with you. So obviously, we have been saying it day in and day out. You wake me from sleep in the middle of the night, maybe until CAT changes. We are not going to change from the idea that arithmetic is the mothership. So anyone who's planning to get a 99th percentile in CAT, now the easiest way or the best possible way, without a doubt, starts with arithmetic. Now when we say arithmetic, we are talking about profit and loss, SICI, average, ratios, mixtures, time, speed, distance, time and work, percentages. This is what we are extensively saying, and that repetition is still going to be the case. And we saw that in the pattern, you on an average get 8 to 9 questions consistently, without a doubt. Hands down, 8 to 9 questions in the paper, and that's your best route to go to the 99th percentile, undoubtedly. Now, any high percentile that you are attacking, you can simply just get arithmetic in the back and then feel positive about your scores. Anything that comes after that is an added bonus. So we still keep saying this, and I'll continue to say it until time changes. Arithmetic is the most important part. So if you have gotten that in the bag, what's next? What should you be doing next? Obviously, the backbone of the QA part happens to be algebra. Now, arithmetic, if it is a module, algebra is a standalone module, and sometimes there has been intersections over time. Very specifically, if I have to point out to one particular year, 2023 is a prime example where it was almost difficult to differentiate, split a topic, whether it was on algebra or on arithmetic. Like it would be an algebra heavy solution, but then the conceptuality comes from arithmetic. So it would be really difficult for us to split it. So I think it has moved towards it. It is high time that we get this in back. Even if you are not going to the tricky topics in algebra like inequalities, functions, modulus, the strong recommendation that we keep saying that is going to be get linear equations, quadratic equations, solving a little bit of inequalities. They all are must, because all of a sudden out of nowhere in an arithmetic question you're going to get what is the minimum possible value of x greater than or equal to. So we might have to solve for it. We need to get a gist of what inequalities are, a little bit of what functions are, and modulus is going to be super important. And that's why we are going to say algebra is going to be the backbone. If this is your front face, this is going to be in the back end support. This is going to be your support system. This is going to be our primary force, right? So anyone who can get these two, now imagine this, if you can master these two modules, you are easily looking at 16, 17 questions in the paper. Now, am I telling you that you will solve all 16, 17? That depends on how well our speed are, how well you have understood the topics. We have 40 minutes and 17 questions. Is it doable? The answer is yes. But sometimes we panic. Sometimes things doesn't go our way. We hope that it doesn't happen that way. But then 17 questions in the bag, you have already mastered this section. All you need is probably 13, 14 questions to go to the 99th, 100th percentile here. So 17 questions, you are having some space. You are having a backup here. So undoubtedly, it's a great place to be in. So anyone who can get these two in the bag is great. So it's a nice feeling that you are getting now. When you look into the paper, you really don't have anything to worry about, right? So then you look at the next part, geometry. Now, every time we take classes on geometry, anytime I see a student talk about geometry to me, it is not a natural space for us when it comes to geometry. It's not your comfort zone. We all probably, the worst case scenario happens to be geometry in your 10th grade. Nothing more than that. Now 11th, 12th, at least you did see some math, but geometry was a gone case by 10th standard. Some of those concepts, some of those theorems is not in our head anymore. Now you'll have, most of us still might have to learn it from the scratch today. So it's a tough spot to be in, but it's a nice niche place. But then how worthy is it? Over the time we saw that the number of questions on geometry has slightly dipped. It starts at somewhere around 4 questions and then gradually went towards 2 to 3 questions every paper. Every year you look at it, on an average you get 2 questions. On your best case scenario, you are getting 3 questions from it. So it is more of a selection topic. What do I mean by selection topic? Now do you want to do geometry or do you not want to do geometry depends on the comfort zone here. Sometimes people recommend get geometry in back. Now, if you are struggling to do send percentage of these two modules, there needs to be backup, and obviously people fall on to geometry. So it's more of a selection topic. It depends on where you stand at that moment. There is no strong recommendation to do geometry. There is no strong recommendation to skip that either. So it stands somewhere in the middle ground. So wrap your head around it, figure out where you stand, whether you want to do it or not is your call on that particular day. And then you move forward. Modern math. So every time I talk about modern math, I feel a little upset about it because I have a very fond space for modern math, very specifically combinatorics. Happens to be one of my favorite topics. But then I might have to bite my teeth and then tell you, feel free to skip this. I am a person who would be happy getting all 22 questions on combinatorics. I'm not saying I'm going to get all 22 right. I'm telling you, I'd feel good. Rather than filling up formulas and then solving them, I'm more of a logical comfort guy. It's nice for me. But I might have to keep my preferences set aside and then talk to you on that ground. Feel free to skip it. Over the years, on your worst day, if PNC, if combinatorics, modern math is your favorite subject, module in that case, on your best day, you get 2 questions. There are papers consistently where there have been 0 questions or 1. That's never exceeded 2, right? So it's even on your best day, you don't get more than 2. Maybe 1 question a paper. So is it really worth to spend all the time to do combinatorics, which is vast, too big, way too big? Do I want to do all of that for a mere 1 question? Is it really worth my time? Maybe not. But hey, get the basics right. Maybe if nothing works out, maybe something from here might pop up and then you are free. You're good. There have been instances of some basic questions from combinatorics sitting in the paper, which would easily give you 3 marks than solving a standard time speed distance question that goes for 10-12 lines of equations. Right. So the decision call once again is on you. Here when it comes to modern math, with your eyes closed, you can still feel and tell yourself, I can even dump this topic, it is doing me no harm. Again, I say this with a bitter teeth now, because this is something that's very close to me, that entire topic. But then, hey, feel free to dump it if you are not feeling comfortable around it and it is not doing you any harm. Unlike the other 3 modules, this module is something that you can close your eyes and say, you can pretend like it doesn't even exist. It's not really going to affect you in any means. When you go to number theory, now a lot of times, most of the times, people have mixed feelings about number theory. I've talked to a lot of faculties, I've talked to a lot of tutors who have an inclination towards number theory, whereas some of them say, once again, barely 1 to 2 questions. Do we really need to do it? Right. So this is also a topic that goes on both ends, but I'm going to give you my 2 cents on number theory. Despite the fact that topic doesn't have a huge weightage in the paper, I still will go and recommend to you to do this topic here. Go for it. Get your basics covered. Topics like factors, multiples, HCF, LCM, reminders. Get the basics of the basics at the least. Get the funda right, because number theory is not only giving you a question or 2 in quant, it is also helping you do better in DILR. Right. When you get a number theory based set, numbers based set, that's a nice place to be in. Right. So get some part of it right, get some part of it comfortable, because end of the day, it's not about how many questions come from number theory, but how powerful that topic is. Unlike modern math, where modern math and number theory, both of them happen to have the same weightage, my inclination towards number theory is slightly more, because of the comfort it gives you towards mathematics. Once again, the decision falls on you. But my recommendation here, unlike modern math, I'm going to say, get something in the bag, get it right, get comfortable around it. It might play a big role when it comes to your scores. And then finally, now there are some topics which are not standalone topics most of the times, but then it is highly recommended. It really matters to get these in the bag. I call it the hidden syllabus. What do I mean by hidden syllabus? Now, when you talk about percentages, you do have in the past where you get a standalone percentage question every now and then, but it is not likely every time. Unlike time, speed, distance, and time and work when it comes to arithmetic, you consistently get one question, at least one question. Every paper has had one question from time and work, time, speed, distance, one from SICI or average or profit and loss, one way or the other. All these topics go with one question bare minimum over the time. Percentages sometimes has a standalone question comes, sometimes it doesn't. But these are topics that are hidden mines. Like you might have to dig them up first so that you can get comfortable with the rest of the part. So get this in the bag here and we are through. So the final verdict. So obviously when I say these topics must be mastered, these topics must be given top priority, take it with a pinch of salt, because everything that we just spoke here are a mere indication, not a prediction. As much as I would love to give you a prediction and tell you this is what it is, CAT has never given us that leverage, that comfort of telling this is what it will be in the next year. We don't even have an assurance on how many questions will come. For 3 years it was 66 questions, then for 2 years it has been 68. In 2026, what should we expect? Should we expect 68 questions or less than that or more than that? Do we have an idea about it? No. That's why I say they all are indications, not predictions. So keep that in mind. These are strategies that goes across the country. Everyone sticks to it. Just because everyone sticks to it doesn't mean that it is the right way. I'm saying this is the best way. But based on the previous year's papers, based on what you know, based on what we have inferred, these topics take the front seat now without any compromise. Time and work, time, speed, distance, profit and loss, average, SICI, mixtures. If you notice, all of them are arithmetic. And all these topics have always gotten one question every slot, every year. Invariably, every year we have had it. So, do you want to compromise on that? I would recommend not. So, get this in the bag. And then strong preparation. When I say strong preparation, these foundations must be perfect. They have to be perfect. Again, no compromise on the foundation part here. So get these in the bag: percentages, ratios, linear equations, inequalities and progressions, logs. They are nice. Logarithm is nice. Once again, get those basics right. It will help you to solve an entire question. We are not looking into a log chart to solve a question. So this doesn't take any compromise. You might not have to do all of them, but bare minimum of them will take you through. And here comes one set of topics that you can complete, but recommendation, don't overdo it. The moment you start overdoing it, you fall into traps like reminders, factors. It is an inevitable loop. It is a never-ending loop. You keep going in loops over and again, and at some point the fatigue kicks in, you get exhausted, and then you're like, I'm done. So don't overdo any of this. Circles, triangles, polygons, as much as I say geometry is nice, don't overdo it again. So, nice question. Sometimes you might get a question on cyclic quadrilateral. You might have to remember every property of cyclic quadrilateral now to solve that question. If you can do that, well and good. If you can't, feel free to dump it and say, this is not happening today, not my day, this is not my cup of tea, I'm refraining myself away from you, let's meet some other time, probably after the answer key is released. So feel free to get the basics right, but then dump the rest of it. If you can follow up this pattern, I have a very strong feeling this would put you in a high percentile zone. Now, as much as I want to promise you this is exactly what it will be, I'm pretty sure no one can assure you that. This is more than 95-98% percentage true. there is always that one small pinch of uncertainty that prevails over time. So, but over the time, based on the track record, based on history, if you can get all of this right, I am pretty sure that there is no reason for you to falter. Keep this in mind while picking your topics. Keep this in mind while you write your mocks, your analysis. Is this a topic that you want to revisit? Even though the topic, that question was good, do you want to visit the topic and get better, or you want to dump it? All these decisions, to take those decisions, these are topics, these are pointers that you might have to remember to do better. Hope this video will help you. We'll see you on the flip side of 2026 with some better scores. Until then, signing off. Best wishes.